Naze Hotaru wa sonna ni hayaku shinanakereba naranai no desu ka? Welcome to episode 11 of Media Nest, the podcast where we discuss films and albums that we recommend to each other. This week, as always, I'm joined by Dylan
Hello there.
and Brad,
Konnichiwa.
and my name is
Buzz.
Adam. And this week, as you see from the intro, which that translates to "Why do fireflies have to die so soon?" That is a quote from our film this week. It's pretty deep, to be fair. And the film I wanted to discuss this week, I recommended, was 1988's Grave of the Fireflies,
Bit
directed
old, really,
by
a bit
Isao
shit.
Takahata. Yeah, Dylan don't like films pre 2008, so
2008 is pretty vintage,
this would be
to be fair.
interesting. Yeah, I mean a classic film, Dark Knight. That's the black and white classic, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
And then our album this week was recommended by Brad, and that was Paolo Nutini's Caustic Love album from
Much love.
2014, I believe.
Yes, boy.
Yeah. So let's get into Hotaru no Haka, or Grave of the Fireflies in English. So
Let's go.
this film, as I said, released in 1988, Japanese release, and then released in worldwide 1989. It was actually a double bill with another Studio Ghibli film, My Neighbor Totoro, which was directed by Hayao Miyazaki, who's the more well-known Studio Ghibli director. But Studio Ghibli, the Japanese animation studio, was founded by both Isao Takahata and Hayao Miyazaki. But whereas Miyazaki tends to deal with the more magical, like
Yeah.
fantasy children elements of his films, so they're very spiritual, they're based on like Japanese folklore, and they're very kid friendly.
It's fun.
Takahata's films, on the other hand, are
Less fun.
not like that. Yeah, less fun, let's say.
Yeah.
They're more grounded in reality. They're more dramas. They're
Yeah.
more depressing, dark.
Gut
Not really
wrenching.
meant for kids. I would
Yeah.
not recommend this for children.
I wouldn't put this film with My Neighbor Totoro. Definitely not.
Yeah, although Studio Ghibli thought that was a good idea. And actually, interestingly, the reason they tied it with My Neighbor Totoro was because the like distribution, they didn't want to put My Neighbor Totoro out because it was really magical and they didn't really understand it. So they put out Grave of the Fireflies because it had educational purposes. So they actually used Grave of the Fireflies to advertise My Neighbor Totoro. But then My Neighbor Totoro went on to be a huge success, made $30 million worldwide. It's like the breakthrough film for Studio Ghibli.
30 million, that's kind of rookie numbers, really, isn't it?
No, that's
3.7 million budget, though. And you got to remember this.
And also, this is in the 80s when people are like, oh, a whole cartoon movie. That's, not for me.
That's
Fred,
sad.
you got to remember, this is 1988, and
Bro,
this is a
man, I'm
foreign
joking.
animated film.
Bro, I'm joking.
No, I'm just saying, it's big ups. Whereas
Yeah.
Grave of the Fireflies made $500,000 worldwide.
Oh, yeah, that's some
as I
big
say,
boy budget right there. Oof.
Yeah, so people, for some reason, people did not want to watch a depressing
Oh,
World
couldn't
War
tell you
II
why.
drama.
Yeah, why not? Fucking hell. What's wrong with you people?
God's sake.
But yeah, the top user IMDb review, which I thought was quite interesting and sums this film up quite well, is this is the best movie you'll never want to see again.
Oh my God. That is such a mood. I wish I had it in me to watch it again because I would like to, but maybe I just need to get emotionally stable before I do that.
So if obviously we're alluding to it, but as I said in the intro, in our little introductory quote, one of the quotes from the film is, "Why do fireflies have to die so soon?" And that's kind of a metaphor for the themes of the film in general. And obviously
everyone dies.
The film's called Grave of the Fireflies, so you're already a bit suspicious of it before you've even started it.
Yeah.
You know? This ain't gonna be a run-of-the-mill happy kids film.
The first line kind of gives it away. Like,
Yeah.
what was it like? Oh, my name's what's his name?
His name's Sata. Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Sata, and I am dead, or something like
Yeah, no, it was September 1945. That's the day I died. That's the
it.
opening line of the film. And then from there is like basically a flashback, and you see what leads to that point. So I mean, we'll obviously get into spoilers from this point on, because it's a difficult film to talk about without spoiling it. Anyway,
I mean, we've spoiled every film we've reviewed so far, so I mean,
Yeah.
I don't...
You got it.
But with this film, I would recommend it before knowing the spoilers, because I think a lot of the films we've talked about, like Dark Knight or Green Lantern, like they're very common films people probably already seen.
Green
It's
Lantern,
hard
what's
to
that?
spoil them. Whereas
This is
this film is like
100%
very
just...
obscure. A lot of people haven't seen it.
I don't know. I'd
Yeah.
say this is on the same level as Green Lantern when it comes to obscurity.
Whoa, what?
No, Green Lantern's not obscure. It's just shit, man.
It's just shit.
Yeah. And that's Green Lantern mentioned in 5-6
Yeah.
episodes now. It's
Consecutively,
still
yeah.
rolling. But yeah, like I would recommend this film, but with the caveat that I don't think this film is meant for everyone. I recommended it to you guys because I feel like you can take it, but
Yeah.
I would not recommend this to a lot of people because it's heavy, you know.
It's very heavy. If
It's
you
not
are not having a
heavy.
good day, do not watch the movie.
Yeah, it's not gonna make you feel better. You will think
No.
about it afterwards as well.
I
Like,
don't know. You
A
might
lot.
get a refreshing review. You know, you might come out with a different perspective.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely.
You might think,
thought-provoking.
actually, my life's really not that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a good point. I do think
That is a great point.
although it is very sad, very depressing, I do think there's sort of bittersweet elements to it as well.
It makes you feel grateful.
Yeah, and it does leave you. It's very thought-provoking. It does leave you with
100%.
thought. So, the IMDb description for the film is very simple. So it's just a young boy, as we said, Seita, and his little sister, Setsuko, struggle to survive in Kobe, Japan during World War II. So this is a war film,
Yeah.
but it's animated in a similar style to other Studio Ghibli films.
Yeah.
So although it looks fairly kid-friendly, and if you just like looked at a screenshot of it, you'd be like, this is a Japanese kids film. It's gonna be happy-go-lucky.
Literally a
It's
wolf
not.
hiding in sheep skin or clothing
Yeah,
or whatever the saying
we're
is.
warning you. Like, apparently the people, when My Neighbor Totoro was played first in the cinemas before this, people just left as soon as Grave of the Fireflies started, because they've just seen this magical kids film and now they've just been hit with like a sledgehammer, basically.
Yeah.
And I can understand that. And I can understand why it didn't make any money as well, because
I mean, maybe it wasn't necessarily the biggest, like the smartest idea to play this really magical kids film, as you say, and then
it's
then
not.
and then come in with an absolute mood changer. So
honestly,
maybe that was poor planning on their behalf. But
well, as I said, that was so that they could get My Neighbor Totoro distributed, because this was seen as an educational thing. So it was like this had more artistic merit than something that they just considered an animated kids film.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird juxtaposition where the kid-friendly film made all the money and everyone loved it, and then this film depressed people and didn't make any money. But it's interesting. So obviously we can get into spoilers now, but as we've mentioned, this is a very, very sad film.
Extremely.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair to say you'd have to have a stone heart to not feel anything while watching this.
Yeah, I am gonna go out on a limb. I'd say there is not a single person who could watch this film who won't feel emotion, like strong emotion. I'm not talking like passing. Like, this is a film that just stirs everything up in you. You know?
Yeah, it's a tearjerker, but it's not like manipulative in any way.
It's not like cheap. It don't like rely on like cheap tricks, like killing off a dog.
Yeah. Like Marley.
Let's not do this. Let's not do this.
Like, Marley and me, it's like, oh no, the dog's gonna die, I'm gonna cry. Whereas this
oh,
is
doggy
real
dead.
shit. But
Yeah.
I'll admit, I'll go out on a limb and say
Yeah.
that I don't usually cry like often. I'm not saying that out of like, oh, I'm a man, I'm a fucking man, I don't cry. It just
Yeah.
genuinely don't usually happen, like not when watching films as well. But
Yeah.
there's only a couple of films that have made me cry, and one is like Schindler's List and this film. The first time I saw it, I was like bawling like a baby towards the end.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie to you, Chief. I was an
All
emotional
right.
wreck.
Literally same. So, I mean, not same. So, I am a crier sometimes, but I don't cry at
Sometimes.
movies. Sometimes, only once a day. And and no, I don't cry at movies. I don't get emotionally attached in like
Yeah.
watching movies and stuff. But this fucking got me. I was watching it with my girlfriend and my roommate, and they were there like sad and somber, and I was just there curled up in a ball,
Yeah.
just fucking sobbing. But yeah, it's definitely, I think, the only movie apart from Up that made me cry.
Fair enough. What about you, Brad? Did you shed a little tear, or are you too
I
manly
mean, I
for
wouldn't.
that? Yeah.
I mean, I didn't shed any tears, but I mean, I definitely felt the emotion of it. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's fair enough. Brad's too much of a hard nut for that.
No,
You
it's just I mean, I don't cry at films. It's not a thing I've ever
yeah.
done. You know,
Yeah, I mean
That's fair. That's fair.
it's a fairly uncommon thing anyway, but it's like some films just catch you in a way that you don't really expect.
I
Yeah,
suppose.
that's the
But I mean,
thing. I was not expecting
I'm
that.
also not the type of knob to like stand up after a film and start clapping for it. So I mean,
Yeah,
like,
but
Oh
it's
no,
Brad,
maybe
we're
it's just certain
British. No one
people.
has ever done that.
no
in
one has ever
Ah,
done that.
trust. I swear it was you that said you've been in a cinema before when someone stood up at the end and clapped.
Oh, I can't
Nah,
even
I swear
remember.
I haven't.
Someone said this. I can't remember who it was.
Oh yeah, no, I was watching Jumanji 2, the next level.
Just, I had to. Standing
Masterpiece, 10
ovation.
minute
No,
standing
I swear
ovation.
someone said it was like at the end of like a DC film or something. It might have been Harry.
A
I don't know.
Oh
DC film.
no, do you know what? I think you're right. I think it was Avengers Endgame, but it wasn't at the end.
Oh,
It was like when the like big reveal happens of all the characters. I
oh
swear there
my
were some people
god.
clapping in there and cheering and shit.
I
But
had
right,
people whooping.
right. Ignore Adventures Endgame anyway, because that film's
Yeah.
shit. That's just
Yeah.
got me cancelled. But carry on. Let's go back to Grave of the Fireflies. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
another thing we were saying about it being emotional, I think it makes a big difference because it's animated and because it's like kid friendly as well, because it makes it much more real. And also
Yeah.
another thing is the two main characters we've got in the whole film that we follow the whole way is the brother and his younger sister, and they feel like children.
Mm,
So everything that happens to them in the film is much more impactful because they actually feel like children. And the
yeah.
reason for that is because the director wanted them to be age appropriate. So the older brother was 16 at the time of recording, but the little sister Setsuko was 6.
That blows my mind. That
Yeah.
honestly blows my mind because the voice acting for it is so good.
Mm.
It's very good. You don't normally in like movies like this, you'd get like a teenager or even an adult, someone like Tara Strong who does like baby voices in like
Yeah.
all the like animated cartoons and stuff.
Oh yeah. And you could tell like it's a 30-year-old trying to do a
Yeah,
14-year-old's voice. Yeah.
But no, honestly, the fact that they sounded like kids and even just like, yeah, just everything was them being a kid. It just fucking, it's way more impactful. Way more.
Definitely. And also, which makes it much, much worse, is this is based on a true story as well.
Yeah, you can kind of
Mental.
tell it was based on real events.
Yeah, because
So
obviously it's set during World War II in Japan.
the end of
Yeah.
World War.
Yeah, so you know that like the bombings and the other things in the war effort were happening.
They didn't go as far as the nukes, so that's one thing in this film. They didn't go
Yeah.
that far.
Yeah.
But then obviously that's because it is based on a true story. So it's based on a novel by Akiyuki Nosaka, which basically documented his own experience during World War II.
That fucking blows my mind.
Yeah, so he lost his little sister to malnutrition during the war, and blamed himself. And basically, he wrote the novel 20 years later to deal with that loss. And you
I
can
can't
feel
imagine
that
that.
through the film. Like I didn't know that the first time I was watching the film. I was still sad because it's a sad story. I
Yeah.
read that afterwards and I was like, fuck, this is
It's
if
all
this actually happened, you can't imagine how horrific that would have been, you know?
the entire movie's almost like kind of like a love letter to like his
Yeah,
sister kind of thing.
yeah, definitely. And it's treated like very seriously and very like lovingly, as you said.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel like the ending is very bittersweet as well.
Mm.
Because as we said, the start of the film is I suppose we could run through the plot.
Let's
Actually,
run through.
yeah,
Let's run
and then we
through.
could talk about the ending. Otherwise, a bit disjointed. But
Yeah, yeah.
so as we said, the film starts with him saying, "This is the day that I died," and he's basically like abandoned in a train station, and
Mm.
the
You
like
say
train
abandoned. There's
people.
bare other kids there as well.
Yeah, yeah. So there's just like bodies like on the floor in this train station, like either sleeping or dead. And
Yeah.
like obviously our main character of the film dies in the first minute of the film, and then the rest is told in flashback. So you
Yeah.
already know like how bad it is.
You get like a feeling for it instantly as well, though, when like you got the train inspectors or the police, whoever it is, are walking
Mm.
through there. It's like, oh, another one. So
Exactly, yeah. It's like it's not even like a big deal because this has happened so much. And what I like is that you don't see all the other stories of the other people there because they've
Yeah.
probably got similar depressing stories. So it's like,
Similar, if not
yeah,
worse.
yeah, exactly. So then after that, you get the flashback because his sister's there, and then you basically
Yeah.
see what led to that point. So in the first half an hour of the film, their hometown gets bombed,
Yeah.
and they're basically like he's looking after his little sister. He runs away. You later find out that the mum was in the bombings, and their mum
Yeah.
passes away. Then it's basically they go to live with the aunt, and then
Oh, what a
yeah,
oh.
and the aunt is basically like a very patriotic bitch, basically, because
She's
she's like,
basically if like a British hamhead was Japanese, it was a Japanese woman.
yeah, and
do you know, it kind
obviously,
of reminded me of? It kind of reminded me of the relationship Harry Potter has with his auntie and uncle.
Yeah,
yeah, she's
very much so.
she's that like vindictive aunt where she's like, you should be working for your own food. Everyone else is working for the war effort, and it's like, I mean, he's kind of
Yeah,
like 12, and he's looking
he
after his little sister. He's just lost
literally.
his mum. His dad's like missing because he's like a what's it? He's like a
Soldier.
sailor. Yeah,
Yeah,
Navy,
he's like
whatever
part
it
of the
was.
navy. Yeah,
there was one part which was like jarring me about her because like she was like, "Oh yeah, you should be working," but also like she got the big care package, didn't she?
yeah, yeah. She
And
took
like
their
got all the
rights.
rice and bonito flakes and fish and all
Yeah,
that. Even one thing, I was glad I caught onto it because it kind of it opened my eyes a bit. So when they're all eating at the table that first night with the soup, the
mm,
brown soup, so she was serving it up, and she was giving him and the child just like the soupy stuff, and
yeah.
then she was giving her daughter and her husband like the potato and the meat and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
like they
because
were just drinking the soup.
they were
Mm.
working towards the war effort, and she was like, "You don't
Oh yeah,
deserve
you don't
this because you're
deserve
not
it.
working towards it." And you're just like,
Just
"Mate, just
little
give him a
things like
fucking
that.
break."
A
Yeah,
lot of things you
Exactly.
need to consider in this film, that this kid's just lost his mumsy, doesn't know where his
Yeah.
dad is, you know.
yeah, exactly. But that's the point where he decides that he's going to go on his own because his aunt's just treating him like such a dickhead. He's
Yeah.
like, right, if you want me to be a man, because now he's got to grow up and become the man of the family. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm going to take my sister. We're going to find a place to live. We're going to buy our own food. We're going to do all this.
Yeah.
And at one point, it's going really well for them, and they're eating nicely and they're having a really good
Yeah.
time. And you're like, oh, this could lead to something like quite
Exactly.
happy, actually. You know, I'm feeling good for these
Mm.
characters now. And then slowly that starts to unravel.
It's a
Where,
very slow descent, but
yeah,
not in a way that the film was slow, but it just
no,
shows
not at
just
all.
degradation, you know?
The film's literally just under 90 minutes as well. It feels longer in a good way because
In a good way.
you see so much happening, and there's so much happening there.
It's a
To
lot of
me, the
content.
film just flies by,
Yeah.
and you're just like, not once was I disengage with the story at all.
Honestly, it's one of those movies that you don't want it to stop, even though it hurts. You don't want it to stop.
Yeah, like that's why the ending hurts so much. But then after that, so they're feeding themselves and they're living in a bomb shelter, and you get that little bit of respite where you're like, they're living right now, they're doing a good job. And then slowly, like, they run out of money, they can't get food anymore, so Sata starts stealing. And then he's like being punished by that. All the interactions between them two as well was just like so good, because it was
Wholesome.
like wholesome, but also they really were children, because it's like when he gets beaten up and he's got like bruises on his face, the little sister is like, do you need to go see a doctor? And it's like, the childhood innocence is slowly being taken away from him,
honestly,
basically. And that's kind of the whole point of the film.
It's literally just like you said, the entire film is just watching these two kids just have their entire lives, like, an innocence was ripped away and just forced into adulthood. Just like, here you go, fucking survive. Off you pop. And that's probably what happened with millions and millions of kids around the world, especially in places like Japan, where it was just completely fucked.
Yeah, but then the scene when she's getting seen by the doctor, and obviously she's showing signs of malnutrition, so she's got diarrhea and she's got rashes and stuff. And then he says, Sata says to the doctor, like, can you give her medicine? And the doctor's just like really blasé, like, all this little girl needs is food. And Sata snaps, and he's just like, where am I going to get food?
Yeah.
It's so impactful.
Yeah, because you need to consider all of that, the rations that were happening at the time as well. So
exactly, because we've already seen how difficult it is for them to get food. Food is such a scarcity in this environment at the time.
Yeah.
And the doctor's just like, I've got more patients to see.
Just go get some food, little
go
kid.
get yourself some food.
Yeah, go get yourself a nice fish and chips.
Go get your money up. Go get some food.
But it's little things like that, little details that really ground the story, that makes you feel like you're there.
Yeah, to the doctor at least, it's just like, oh, this kid just needs some food. But like us watching, we're just like screaming at the TV, like, he can't fucking get food, just help him, kind of thing. Yeah.
And then, of course, that leads to our ending, where Sata, he finds out at the bank that his dad's ship has been blown up.
Yeah, so Japan lost war.
Japan's
and everyone
lost the war.
dead.
Yeah. And then he basically goes home to the bomb shelter and discovers that Setsuko has been eating like mud, because she thinks she's basically like going through like delusions.
Yeah, like she's just hallucinating and shit. Like,
and she's like, probably starving.
Yeah, and like offering him rice balls, but they're like made out of mud.
Yeah.
And you also get a flashback to what she's been doing when Sata's been away, where she's been like eating mud and all this other stuff, because obviously she doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
And while Sata's out doing other things, she's thinking she's looking after herself, but that is what's causing like the malnutrition.
Yeah.
Which makes it even worse. Like,
it's fucking hard to talk about.
Yeah, and then so basically Sata like panics and buys loads and loads of food and like a big watermelon,
which must have cost thousands, because he only had what, 3,000 yen? Was it yen?
Yeah, I think so. And then that's like his desperate attempt at saving his sister, because the whole film, his whole goal is just to keep his sister alive. Basically, he doesn't even really care about himself. He's
Not
just
at
trying
all.
to keep her alive, and then basically that's what causes her to die, where he says in one of the most devastating lines I've ever seen in a film, I think, he's just like, it comes up with voiceover and it's just like, she never woke up, and then it fades to something else and you're just left there to ruminate, basically, just like,
it's just him walking along a lonely road. I think that was the scene after that, and it is just, you're left to think like, oh fuck, so she's fucking dead. Like, what the hell?
Wait, it's not just that though. I mean, you then see him buy things to then burn her. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It
he had
shows
to
you like the
cremate
whole
her.
process.
Mm.
Yeah,
And the
no.
guy, oh my God, and the guy who was selling him the or giving him advice or whatever, just like, oh yeah, sorry
he seemed
your sister
happy.
died.
You're
Yeah,
like, that's fucking
Yeah.
mad.
that's because he's getting business, Brad. Because the
But
war's
that's
over, but he's getting
He's
business.
getting his money up still.
Yeah, but the guy was like, oh yeah, you just get him straw. Yeah, you can burn her. See you later, bro.
yeah. But I feel like that's part of it, where all of the adults in this story are like jaded, ignoring
Yeah,
everything, and then like you've got your children character where his everything has been taken away from him basically,
yeah,
and then the other guy's just like, oh yeah, you could just do this, like it's not that big a deal for him.
mm,
But I suppose that's like a sign of the times, because there's so much worldwide destruction going on. Like no one's going to
yeah,
care about this one kid who's got to do
exactly.
this, you know. Yeah, but the way that the ending is like directed, and the acting, the music as well, the
God
score
damn.
for this film, I think is gorgeous. It's just
I think
beautiful.
it genuinely, the entire movie is just the
Yeah,
art, the writing, the voice acting, is that everything. It's just it
yeah.
works so well, so well.
But you have like a consistent like theme in the
Mm,
music that comes in quite a lot. And then
yeah,
what I say about the ending being bittersweet, what I mentioned earlier, is the final scene is basically, you've got the metaphor of the fireflies, so they keep catching fireflies, and they use them
yeah,
to light up their cave, and then one morning the fireflies are dead, because obviously their lifespan is just like 24 hours or whatever.
yeah.
That's when Setsuko says, "Why do fireflies have to die so soon?" And then
He was
at
trying
the
to make up
end,
that Owl City song. That's why.
yeah. And then at the end, you've got like the final shot of this film is like one of my
Yeah,
favorite ending shots ever, where he's walking up the hill, the whole sky is lit up with these green fireflies, and then he
yeah,
sees Setsuko at the top, and they just like embrace, and you've got the like build up of the score going at the
yeah,
same time, and like I love that song so much anyway, but it really
yeah,
adds to that scene where like at least he's with his sister now, you know. At least they've
yeah.
sort of found peace at the end.
They're together. They don't have to worry about food
Yeah,
or anything like that.
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe
and
it's a nice story. This really, it's about finding happiness after death. You know.
Yeah,
it's not a nice story, but it does have that little bit at the end, which, although it's fucking depressing and sad, that final shot is genuinely like very beautiful and
ching.
heartwarming, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's heartwarming and heart-wrenching at the same time. It's really weird. It's hard to
It,
describe unless you've seen it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You should definitely see it, but just know for a fact that it's gonna be sad. So just quickly before we go into final thoughts, Brad, this is
Yum.
your first experience with a Studio Ghibli film.
Yeah.
Oh shit, yeah.
So what did you think of the art style?
Seemed alright. I mean, like, because I'm saying, I asked you whilst I was watching it. I was like, have you ever seen
Mm,
things like Shin Chan, which
Mm,
is obviously just a cartoon, but had the sort of same sort of art style.
mm.
Yeah, like I say, it's a nice way to portray a film. In my
yeah.
Yeah,
opinion.
I don't think it would have been the same if it was live action at all.
Oh god,
But
no.
for me, it's like I don't have an awful lot of experience in this sort of thing, so I can't give you more than that really.
Mm,
But
yeah.
Yeah,
it was a nice art style. I'll give you that.
Yeah, see, to
yeah.
me, I just think Japanese animation is just so much better than
It's
everyone
top
else.
tier. Top tier.
Yeah,
There's nothing better in my opinion.
hand-drawn animation, it holds up. Whereas, like, this is 1988. You look at films from like 2006 or something
You
like
look at Green
Madagascar.
Lantern.
Yeah.
Fuck off. That's
Well,
fuck's
no, like
sake.
fully animated,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Madagascar or fucking B movie or something, right?
Mm,
Every like 2 or 3 years, it's out of date because they're constantly changing it. Whereas this,
honestly.
Studio Ghibli have basically been making the same style films for like 40 years,
They
and it still holds up.
I'd go as far as saying as they've perfected that.
Yeah,
They are
Definitely.
the best in the world at what they do,
Yeah,
by far.
definitely. I agreed. So
Yeah,
let's move on to final thoughts then. I think I'll go last because this was my
yeah.
recommendation. We'll start with you, Brad, because you've not had as much to say about this film. So what was
Yeah,
your overall thoughts?
for me, it was just like it was a nice story, nice
Mm,
package. I enjoyed it more than I expected to.
yeah.
But in terms overall, I don't, because we haven't really gone on to any negatives, but I don't think you can say an awful lot about anything bad.
No.
I can't
There,
think of anything.
you can't really think of too much negative. I mean, it's very sad, but I mean,
It's not really
it
negative. It's
takes you through the plot at a very nice pace.
Yeah.
It gives you all the information you need to digest at the right times.
Mm,
Um, and like I say, just the characters, you end up building emotional response to it. So if what it's trying to do, it does perfectly. So you cannot
yeah,
argue with
definitely.
it
Yeah.
in that response. And like I say, it's just a nice art style. It had some, like I say, nice soundtrack to it. Overall, can't say anything bad about it. The only
yeah,
thing I can really say is it I wasn't completely overwhelmed by it. I wasn't shocked to a point where I couldn't believe it because it was very believable.
yeah,
Mm,
So you know me. I mean, I like a film that pushes boundaries too far. I mean, this was exactly what you could have expected a war film to be.
yeah.
yeah.
In that sense, again, I can't think of anything bad to say about it. But I yeah, I feel like I'm just gonna sit with. I'm gonna give it a. I'm gonna give it a good score. Don't get me wrong. It's
Mm,
gonna get a 4.5 from me.
yeah.
Yeah,
Fair play.
because like I say, if I can't say anything bad about it, then why can't I give it anything less than that? So yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
4.5
yeah.
from me.
No, that's fair enough. That makes sense. So basically, you're saying as a film, it's like got all the elements, but it's
As
just
a
missing
film,
Yeah.
something
yeah,
slightly. Yeah.
exactly. For me, I mean, it also might be because it's just not my style of film. But
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
the whole package it brings everything. So
Yeah.
Mm.
Fair play. I'm happy about that, because obviously with Dylan, I know he's a fan of Studio Ghibli, so I
Yeah.
thought he would like
Brad was
this.
the
But
wild
with you,
card
I was
here.
unsure.
I suppose the
Mm.
other question here is, would I watch it again? I probably wouldn't, but
Hmm.
That's fair. It's fair.
That is
but
100% fair. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, I can't say anything bad about it. So
Hmm.
at the
Mm.
same time, it has to be a high score. So yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Right. For me, I have watched hundreds and hundreds of films. Hundreds. I've only rated 202 on Letterboxd, but I know I've watched like triple that.
Hmm.
I have rated 6 films 5 stars, and this is one of them.
Oh, I like where this is going.
For
Yeah.
me, this is one of the most perfect movies, beginning to end. Just, I have zero negatives to say about it, and that is really rare because I always have something negative to say. But I have zero negatives with this.
Hmm.
It, from the first second till the last second, I was just watching. I was drawn in. I didn't expect this movie at all. At all. I wasn't ready for it.
Hmm.
I definitely was not ready for it, but
He wasn't
I
ready.
wasn't ready. But my God, just everything about it just is perfect. I'm struggling to to word how I feel about it. It's just such a good film.
Yeah.
I would probably watch this again, but in the very far future, just to kind of like, after I've watched a few hundred more movies, just to kind of bring it full circle and be like, this is the perfect movie.
Yeah.
For me, this is literally the perfect movie. If I could rate it more than 5 stars, I would. Yeah,
Fair enough. This was a good pick for
smashed it,
me then, because this is what I was
smashed
hoping.
it.
And I can say, because I've seen it
Yeah,
twice, it does sit with you.
mm.
You watch it that first time and you're like, I don't ever want to see that
Yeah,
again. I'm fucked
yeah.
up now. For like a few days, you're like thinking about it,
I
but
was. I had a
it
dream about it the
always
night
kept
after.
popping back.
Mm.
Yeah, it kept popping back into my head, and I was like, I've definitely got to recommend this film at one point
Yeah,
because it's so interesting to talk about as well. There's so much.
there's
Like
so
we could
much.
have probably carried this on for like hours, but
Honestly.
yeah, for me, like I agree with everything Dylan said. Basically, like it is pretty much a perfect film. There's
Mm.
no negatives. Like usually we would discuss positives and negatives, but
Yeah,
I genuinely can't think of a negative of the film at all beyond the fact that only a select few people could watch it. You know, like I wouldn't recommend this to my parents or like some kids or random people. You know, you've got to be in a certain mindset to watch it, because it genuinely is probably the most emotionally like reactive film I've ever seen. Like, apart from Schindler's List, that's up there as well for obvious reasons.
Of course.
But I just love films that leave you with an emotion, whether that's happiness or sadness.
Yeah.
And it's
a lasting imprint.
Yeah, it's so lovingly crafted. Every element of it is put together, and you can tell that they really cared. So yeah, for me, exactly the same. 5-star film. I couldn't give it any less. Like, even on second watch, I was thinking maybe I'll pick up on something else. There was nothing.
No.
Like, it's just perfectly paced, beautiful art style, beautiful music, brilliant story.
Honestly,
it's just a great film. And also, it is the 48th highest rated film on IMDb.
Should be higher.
Yeah, so
should be higher.
8.5 on IMDb. So like,
damn,
I don't know who would
that's
dislike
really
this
good.
film unless you just really hate being sad. You know,
I genuinely, I think it's only that low because people weren't ready for the sadness.
Yeah, or not
I
enough
think that
people
might
have
be it.
seen it because out of all of the Studio Ghibli films that they've recently put on Netflix, I think they've put like most of the back catalogue. This isn't on there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's mental. I told my friend, as soon as I watched it, I jumped into my other group, like my boys' group chat, and I told them they need to watch this as soon as possible.
It's one of those. I genuinely think like you need to see this. It's like a perfect war film, perfect animated film. It's just gonna leave you depressed.
Yeah, but it's one of those movies where this is now my movie where if anyone says, what is your favorite movie, this is it. I genuinely think that.
Big talk,
Adam, you've done bits here. You've done bits here.
That's good from you. That's good from you.
That's good from you, bro.
Okay, then. Well, moving on to something else that we might like as well. Or
something
maybe
a little less
won't.
depressing, but also has depressing elements. So
yeah, it's not going to be as depressing. Brad, if you want to lead our album discussion this week.
Yes.
So 2014's Caustic Love, the third studio album by Paolo Nutini, the Scottish singer-songwriter.
Yep.
He's Scottish?
Man is Scottish, not Italian.
Oh.
Full name Paolo Giovanni Nutini. So yeah, that's Scottish.
Okay,
that is a Scottish man right there.
Hey, you're not Paolo. How you doing, like
No, he's Italian on his father's side. His mum's actually full on Scottish.
Okay.
So album was generally well reviewed. Debuted at #1 in the UK album charts, selling 109k first week. It stayed there for 3 weeks, selling 200k within that time, and that's just UK sales, by the way. That's not worldwide sales. That is UK
not
sales.
Bad.
That's big boy numbers.
In terms of UK numbers, those are some pretty big boy numbers.
Yeah.
It's now certified double platinum, so it's a pretty big talk album right there. So
big.
So I'm going to start with Dylan. You've never heard of Paolo Nutini, is this correct?
I have heard his name in passing.
Right, so you never thought you heard of
New Shoes on whatever.
So here's the thing. So Danielle told me. So I was like, I have to listen to fucking Paolo Nutini.
Hey, what did you come in with an attitude?
Bro, I came in with that attitude, 100%. Because to me, Paolo Nutini sounds like some fucking.
No,
honestly, I was thinking, it's going to be some shitty fucking opera shit.
and
I was fuming. Probably. And then Danielle was like, no, you'll know him. Trust me, you'll know him. And I was like, okay. So I played like 3 of his most popular songs. Not a fucking clue. I've never heard of them. I've never heard any of his music.
Wow.
I played his 3 most popular songs on
Spotify. Like had bare songs as like
I got
adverts.
my new shoes on and everything's gonna be right. You've never heard?
No, I've never heard of it.
Right, Dylan doesn't listen to.
I don't listen to the radio.
He's never been out.
So
I don't listen to the radio.
Is
he a radio guy?
I mean,
no. Is he a radio kind of?
I mean, he's not been on radio for a while, but I mean, he would have been.
To be fair, maybe Dylan's just a bit too young because I remember when Paolo Nutini came out with that other
Yeah, I
album,
mean, this
and that
album is
was
2014.
Yeah.
Well, These Streets was the
Yeah.
first album. Was that 2007? I think it's around
Oh,
that
right,
time.
I'm like
yeah.
3 years
So
younger than
Yeah,
you.
he must have
So
just missed the wave.
maybe.
Yeah, so for me, I've heard These Streets before quite a lot because my brother and my dad
Big
are
ups.
fans of
Respect
Paolo
that.
Nutini, so I've like heard it
Yeah.
around. I've never really like listened to it myself, if you know what I mean. It's always been sort of someone else is playing it, but I've appreciated it, and I've always liked certain songs. And I think from this album, I might have heard it once or twice, but I don't really remember it. But I did remember Iron Sky, so I remember seeing a live performance of him doing Iron Sky, and that always sat with me. Like I always remembered that, and obviously I remember the old
Talk more when we get to that,
singles, but I've never sat down. Yeah, I've never sat down and properly
Okay.
listened to this album, so it's still kind of
Yeah,
fresh.
Yeah, there was quite a few singles off this album though. I think he released 4 or 5 of these tracks as singles. The first one, let's see, the first track of the album, "Scream Funk My Life Up." This was a release, and I'm surprised you haven't heard this at all. Then this didn't strike a match at all. You didn't think you'd heard this previously? So I swear this was in like an advert for something.
But I don't watch TV.
Well, either way. So "Scream Funk My Life Up." How are we gonna start this? Who wants to start us off?
Right. So for me, it does sound funky. To be fair, it's
Funk
my life up.
Yeah.
It does live by that, you know. I do really like the 70s guitar sound that it's going for, and it's very like Rolling Stones, very old.
Yeah, it does get quite a bit of that feel throughout the album. I think quite a bit. This album just has that sort of like 70s blues feel. So
yeah, like every song is very 70s inspired.
I'm glad you guys have said that because I've written that everywhere.
For me, like it's a good song, and like I like the piano, synths, and saxophone. It gives it a good personality, but it doesn't really sound amazing to me. I liked it, but I wasn't like blown away. It was like a solid starter song, you know.
Damn, we got the same notes, eh? So the first thing I said, right? So bearing in mind I've never really heard this guy, I was not expecting this at all. I was very confused. I was expecting like fucking Ness and Dorma. Like it.
I don't even know what that is.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, yeah, I was not expecting this at all. I said the slappy bass slaps.
Yeah,
and that is a common theme throughout the entire thing.
Slappy bass all over this.
Bass. I've said this in probably every episode we've ever done. I love bass. Bass is nice.
Buttery biscuit bass.
Big buttery biscuit bass is the best thing. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. His voice though, it's different. It's not like a pop singer.
No,
you know.
The one thing about the whole album and his voice in particular is that his voice used to be a lot more traditional in his earlier work. In this album, he sort of took more of a sort of raw sound to his voice, and there was a lot more screeching.
It's like a dirty jazzy voice, like a dirty jazz bar.
It was sort
kind
of like
thing.
that sort of feel you get from like the 60s pioneers of blues and rock. That's the sort of tone he had
like
to
just
it.
that.
Like, you know,
hard,
it had like
raw,
that Otis Redding sort of sound, and I was just that really attracts me to like the music. So obviously, that for me,
honestly,
this is why I believe personally this is his best album, because vocally it's by far his best album. It's also musically it's his best album. So I'll also go into that. But
fair.
But yeah, for me, it was a nice starter track. This one because it had like that sort of funky interludes where he was just like jumping in with like the "Funk My Life Up" bit where he was vocals. Like the guitar and bass melodies were really smooth, and it was quite like it wasn't too much to start with, you know. It was just it was a good tone to start with, and that's where I come in with
yeah. That's exactly what I said. It's
track.
A nice opening song.
Yeah, and then also obviously it's built the track as well to then like have like a not a massive ending, but like a sort of explosive parts of the ending. So you was gonna say, Dylan?
Before we go too much further in, Brad, like when you sing and when you play guitar, did you kind of use this as like a bass? Because honestly, whenever like I was listening to this and whenever I was listening to some of these songs, I heard a bit of you.
You thought Brad recommended his own album, yeah?
No, not his own album.
He's just like, bro, this
Do you
is
know what I
fucking
mean?
You just
sick,
said
10
that
out
you
of
think
10.
there's similarities in the voice. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no, yeah. Like, if you draw an inspiration from it,
It's to some degree, but
At all.
when we get to certain songs, I'll expand more. So
okay.
So next track, Let Me Down Easy. I'll just start with this one. So it was like a really cool, like laid back track. Then it was there was a lot of smooth back and forth between. So the other vocalist on this track, this is not a re-recording. So this is her original vocals that he has then mixed in his own vocals with.
I thought it was a vocal sample. Yeah, you could tell like the cutting.
Yeah, but wasn't re-recorded. He just sang with it and tried to mix it in the best he can. And I feel like he did a really good job in trying to match sort of the vocal tone to it. So for me, it was just like a really cool, laid back duet in such. For me, yeah, nice track.
Yeah, like you said, with the vocal sample and him going back and forth with that, I actually thought that was really good.
Yeah,
I thought he matched that really well. And this song, you said smooth, like this song's really smooth, like a smooth, soulful song. You know what I mean?
It's just smooth.
Yeah, and I liked that it was a bit darker as well. So the first song's quite breezy, a bit light, whereas this one was. Yeah, you mentioned earlier actually, Dylan, like a jazz cafe. Like this reminded me, you like sitting in a jazzy bar, and there's just some guy over there doing
cocktails.
Doing some things.
You're having a whiskey
sour. If
sour.
you're taking a look at the like sort of elements of this album, I think the main parts of it was psychedelic rock, art rock, folk, and blues. So I mean, you got to incorporate all of that into sort of what sound you'd imagine it comes into, and that's sort of what you
a little bit of jazz
this also.
Well.
Yeah, this is a bit of jazz R&B sounding as well. So it incorporates a lot in this album.
And for me, like you mentioned about his vocals, they tend to change like a lot of the songs. And you saying like sometimes he has that 70s like screechy vocal. Whereas on this one, I preferred that he was a bit more toned down and a bit more laid back. I preferred his. It sounded really smooth to me. Like I really liked his vocals on this rather than the more like screechy stuff.
So with that information, I'm going to assume that maybe the earlier albums are probably more for you than this one.
Maybe.
So okay, we'll move on then.
Yeah.
So Dylan.
So again, the bass line in this was lovely, especially with like the brass instruments. The brass instruments in the back just adds to like, again, like I said 100 times already, like the kind of jazz bar vibes.
Yeah.
Like it's very, very chilled. I also said that this bloke 100% wears a fedora.
In his first album, he was definitely wearing fedoras.
Yeah, he definitely does wear fedoras.
But he is Italian though, so that's kind of.
Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah. But no, his voice is like butter, man.
Yeah.
It is so smooth. It's almost like the perfect kind of like smooth but raspy, you know? Yeah. Good song. Really good song. I wasn't expecting this, but it's a very good song. Yeah.
So next track is Bus Talk, which is just an interlude section.
I
I haven't said too much about.
All I said is, what the fuck is this? When it's like the first 30 seconds. And it's just like,
Same.
Hey there, how are we doing? We're on the bus today. And it's like, what the fuck am I listening to right now?
That sounded like Mickey Mouse there.
But to be fair, I did like the little like 30-second instrumental bit at the end. But I just this was just a bit weird. I was like, why the fuck is this even on it?
Well, it's because there is another interlude in there as well. So,
yeah.
I suppose it's just there to break up the album slightly, isn't it? So
yeah.
I could have done without it. I feel like it broke out a bit too much. You know?
You do you, bro. You do you.
Yeah.
So the next track, One Day.
I'm about to be a little controversial, I reckon, but we move. Right. So up until now, this album is very right. I've got a dinner party with the friends. Get the red wine out, making some hunter's chicken.
Right.
You know, all of that.
Yeah.
Right. Now this song to
boiled
me.
Chicken, yeah.
Oh, don't
boiled chicken, yeah.
This.
This song to me, the chorus was very Arctic Monkeys.
I can kind of see it.
I said it was like the synthy carnival-y piano, right? And it was like the new Arctic Monkeys album, but 20 times better.
I agree.
It's like if Arctic Monkeys were actually good in
Brad
that album.
looks shook
That's
right
what
now.
I think. That's genuinely
Dylan,
like the Sympathy Carnival piano.
Dylan, stop right there. I wrote the exact same thing, right? I wrote right here, this is what Arctic Monkeys were going for, but failed on their last album.
Bro, exactly.
It's a 70s soulful ballad, but it's not shit. It's actually really good. Literally, we've got the same notes, Dylan. No, that is true. No, that is 100% true.
That's exactly what I thought about this song.
Okay.
It's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad in any way.
This is what they were going for.
This is exactly what they were going for.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brad.
Okay. That's not what I've said.
Okay.
I've just said this is a.
But do you agree?
No, I don't agree.
Oh shit. Okay.
That's 100% true.
Why would I agree with what they come out with? That could be anything at all comparable to this.
No, we're saying
it's not comparable.
We're saying they were trying to copy this, but they fucked it up. Like
yeah.
This is what it should.
Yeah,
no, I think that was way off field. I think they were nowhere near this. So I mean,
they were nowhere near
quality,
this.
We're just
I'm not saying
style.
that at all. I'm just saying I don't hear the sound style at
all
to it either.
Okay, fair.
For me,
that's
not computed.
Okay.
Because this is sort of like a bluesy folk song, so I don't see how this is comparable to what Arctic Monkeys did.
Agree to disagree.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, but the vocal performance on this I thought was amazing.
Banging, yeah.
It had just that classic feel to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just had a bit of, because like I say, as I've said so far with the vocals, you can tell that on a lot of albums, even with like people that are doing good vocal performances, there is like vocal enhancements going on there.
Yeah.
I don't feel on this album at all they've touched his vocals.
Nah.
I feel like this feels raw. This feels like it's actually done as is.
I feel like sometimes that's a really big benefit, but sometimes for me, I don't like his voice on certain songs, but we'll get to that anyway.
But like I say, this whole track just had a nice feel to it, some good uses of percussion. Yeah, overall, just a nice track for me.
Yeah, like I agree with the Arctic Monkeys comparison, not in quality, but in like style.
Yeah.
And yeah, this song, I really like this song actually. This is one of my favorites. The instrumental is so smooth. We're gonna use this word a lot.
It's just smooth.
It is like
he's a smooth motherfucker.
Yeah, it's just like you're bobbing your head to it, and it's just like nice to hear. You know, it's very pleasant.
Yeah, it's very pleasant on the ears.
The bass stands out again. You got whoever's doing the bass on this, sick.
I think what a lot of it is that a lot of the instruments are very subtle. And it allows his voice to build, you know.
Yeah,
so
especially on
it's
this
not
one.
overpowering at all. So
and the combo of like the strings and the guitar is great, and it's like really atmospheric. This song as well.
Yeah,
so, I really like this one. This was standout for me.
I agree with Brad as well. Like there is a lot of layers to the songs. There's a lot going on, but nothing is ever
like
too loud or too in your face. Yeah, it was just in the background, just like a little whispering in the ear kind of thing.
It's
like
the music seducing your ear whilst he's fucking pounding at it.
You know? But they copied Alex Turner.
Yeah. Yeah, agree.
Moving on. So our next track, Numpty.
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
we got some good things to say then, boys.
No. I'll start.
No.
I'll start with
Adam,
this
you.
This was the first song on the album I didn't like, apart from the interlude.
Yeah.
Right, so this is a different sound to what we've had before. This is a bit more country rocky, and
I mean, I felt it was more bluesy, but you know.
Right, bluesy country rock, like
Not the same genre, but carry on.
The guitar is really good. I didn't like the sax in this song. I thought it was a bit jarring. I didn't think it really fit that well. Whereas on other songs, it really added to it. It gets a bit repetitive to me, this song. It doesn't really stand out. Like all of the aspects musically are very good. They're well performed. His vocals are still very good. But to me, it's not something I choose to listen to. It was just kind of like a bit backgroundy to me. It didn't really capture me.
You do you. That is fine.
Adam, I think we have got the same notes. I said this song was fine.
Yeah.
It was not like the other songs up until now. Like all the other songs have been like really impressive in terms of like music and the singing and the vocals. This is good, but it's not something I'd put on and be like, oh yeah, listen to this Paolo Nutini song.
Yeah,
you know,
for me, this is a skip.
it's not bad, but it's a filler. Yeah, it's a filler song on the album
Okay,
for
this
me.
this for me is not a filler song. I feel like this holds its own completely in this album.
Okay.
In terms of it, it's just a little more dialed back than some of the other songs. It's not as complex.
Yeah.
But for me, again, it's just because he carries the song through his vocal performance, and that for me is still just outstanding. So, again, just another really good track for me.
Yeah,
that's fair. I can understand why. For me, like everything I've heard up until now has been like big. You know, it's had like a lot to it. So, yeah, I like his bigger songs.
Okay.
Like his more intricate, fatter songs, you know?
So next track is just another interlude, but this one's just a little bit of a jazz section thing going on.
Yeah.
Anyone have any comments on this at all?
Nah, I just said that percussionist is going in. He's just doing some shit, man. He just started picking up random instruments, just started fucking banging it. You know? It was fine.
Yeah.
It was
he just decided he was going to be a one-man orchestra.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't write anything about the interlude, to be fair, but
right.
an interlude, isn't
so
it?
now for me, we are now moving into the best section of the album.
Agreed.
Okay. So we have our next track, which is Better Man. I will start with this because the next three songs, in my opinion, absolutely just topple this album.
Yeah.
So it just had like, again, you said earlier about some Rolling Stones vibes. I feel like this had the most Rolling Stones vibe to it.
Not Rolling Stones, but we'll get to it.
Well, it had sort of that acoustic-y style sort of Rolling Stones sound to it, in my opinion.
Right, Brad, let me just stop you there quickly, right?
Right.
I told you before we discussed this album, listen to Fake Plastic Trees by Radiohead, right?
Yeah.
The first 2 minutes of this song is almost a carbon copy of Fake Plastic Trees. The guitar is incredibly similar, and it was really distracting.
Again, though, I mean, the guitar in such songs, they are just like a 4-chord tune, though. I mean,
yeah,
it's not exactly,
but the chord
it's not exactly if you're ripping it off. It's kind of hard not to if you're just using the same tuning.
Nah, the chord progression and the way he was singing on it, and like the whole aesthetic was borderline like interpolation. Though it wasn't a cover, but it was very, very similar to me. And that's why I wanted to ask you guys to listen to it, because I wasn't sure if that was just me, because I'm such a Radiohead fanboy, but it was really distracting to me, where I was like, am I listening to Fake Plastic Trees right now? What the fuck?
I don't feel like it had anything sort of like the same vocal runs as it.
It changed halfway through, where a lot more elements got added, and it stopped sounding like that.
Yeah.
And I genuinely did enjoy the song. Like, I loved the second half a lot more. But both times I listened to this song, and I even ran it back a third time just to check, I couldn't get past that. It sounded so similar to me. It was really weird.
Well, for me, it was just like a really refreshing sort of love style ballad. Overall, really, really nice track.
Yeah, for me, I said I loved how throughout the song it just kind of progressively added just like more layers and a little bit more, and then by the end there's a fucking like choir and a big band in the back, and it's such a good song, like especially with like the bass as well, like the long kind of like lingering bass notes and stuff like that. Good song. The vocals, the backing vocals was fucking good.
Yeah, a lot of the vocal layering within this album is also just top notch. So
honestly,
the vocals were beautiful in this song. To be fair, this was one of the standouts vocally.
Yeah.
Nothing more to say, Adam?
No, apart from the Radiohead like thing that I couldn't really get past at first. I did really like the build up, like you said, and also there was like so many different instruments in this. There was like a flamenco-y like Spanish guitar in there at one point. There was loads of different percussion. There was like people just bashing on shit, and just like it felt like there was like 20 guys in the studio all just playing like one.
You feel like there's been a lot of sort of, there's a big band influence in this as well, isn't there? So,
definitely. It's like orchestral, but like obviously not sounding orchestral. Yeah, this was good still. It was a good song. It was just really distracting.
So, next track, Iron Sky. Now, let me just give you a little info into my feelings about this song. Is that I recently did a list of my 20 favorite songs of all time, and this was in there. Because for me, this is like genuinely one of the top tier songs I've ever listened to. And as well is that if you hear the live recording he did, I think it was at Abbey Road. My gosh, it is incredible. The live performance, I believe, is better than this recording. And that's because it's just so raw. Like it's so good. But it's
that live performance kind of reminded me of Jason Derulo at the Nickelodeon.
Okay, you're
Choice
fucking
Awards.
cancelled. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck
Did you say the Nickelodeon Awards?
I'm fucking I swear, literally, like, turn your mic off, walk away.
Oh my god.
Oh
my god.
Just in terms of vocal performances, this is one of the best vocal performances I've heard. And just all of the background tunes to it as well. You've got the whole band going on as well. And then also you hear in the song there's sort of an excerpt in there that they a spoken section. Do either of you know where that's from?
Yeah, I've heard it hundreds of times.
I think I've heard
I used to in history class.
It's spoken by Charlie Chaplin, and it's out the film The Great Dictator.
All right,
yeah.
But moving on to what your opinions are, guys.
The opening of this, I couldn't get over it. Right, the opening of this sounded like a luxury yogurt advert. That's if you listen to it, listen
Muller
to it.
Light.
Honestly, no, Muller Lux. Right. That's what that is. But no, listen to it again.
Okay.
Right, and then keep that in mind. But apart from that, I said this song is just fucking sexy. The raspy voice, the piano, the drums, and then like it just builds and builds, and then it fucking drops, and then there's just a whole fucking slew of just instruments, and I had goosebumps listening to it. Actual goosebumps. And then when it slows down with the speech and it had like the echoey guitar and all that kind of stuff, my god, it is easily the best song on the album for me.
Yeah.
And I am gonna put this on every playlist.
Hey.
It's so good. It is so good. This is top tier music.
It is top tier, let's be honest.
Honestly, fucking slaps. And then at the end I said I'm actually shook with like 14 O's. Yeah.
Right, this is getting weird now, because literally the one word I wrote for this in my one word review was goosebumps.
Adam, stop, bro.
What's going on? Are we like telepathic or something?
Oh no.
Yeah, I'll just read you what I said. This is my shit straight away. Like, this is better than I thought it was as well, because I'd heard this years ago, but I'd never like sat down and listened to it, you know. And this is like what, 6.5 minutes long.
It's like significantly long, but you do not feel that, I swear.
Nah, it's not long enough.
No. It's just a ballad.
Yeah, anthem.
Just the way he comes into it alone.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah, but it's like it's got a dark atmosphere again, which I really love on this album. There's the haunting guitar, thudding bass, eerie piano. It all blends together like really well. The vocals are powerful, genuinely powerful. Like what we were saying with some of the Sam Fender songs, where it's like you can hear the emotion in the voice, and I love that.
If we just go through like this opening vocal lines where he's like, "We are proud individuals living for the city, where the flames go any higher." What's the next section? We find God in religion to paint us with salvation. I'm just like, fuck man.
Yeah,
that's deep.
Yeah, this song as well. Like this song, I did pay attention to the lyrics, because a lot of the other songs don't really need to pay attention to the lyrics. Some of them are just like
a lot of them are just love songs. So yeah.
Whereas this one, like, it really stood out, and the chorus is so weighty, and it genuinely makes you want to like belt it out along. You know, you can imagine like seeing this live and just being like, "Yes, fucking, let's go." And this is easily the best song on the album by far. Like, there's not even competition.
Are we at the same level where this is a 10 out of 10 song?
Yeah, this is a
Are we
10 out
there?
of 10 for me.
Are we
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, I said in my review over here, bruv, honestly, this tickles my pickle. So yes.
Yeah. You get standard good albums and you have like a good song here or there. But
Yeah.
then sometimes you have an album that's good and then one song can elevate it where it makes it better. This song is genuinely that good
Yeah.
that it
Yeah.
just like stands out so much. Yeah.
Easily, yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
So our next track, Diana. For me, this was quite a cool track. It's like I say, it's just quite rhythmic, very smooth. I really like. I was saying about the vocal layering earlier, but it's got some really cool features to the vocal layering and like the dubbing and bits to that. Yeah, and also I really just like the chorus as well. It was like just saying, "Diana, she loves me." I'm like, "All right, cool, bro." See you on man's. Who wants to start here, Adam?
Yeah, go on. Was this about Princess Diana, by the way?
Do you know? I don't know.
No, I don't know. It was always going to be a bit of a come down after the last song. Like, how are you going to follow that up? To be fair,
I said the same thing.
but this song, like, I really love the fact that it was really stripped back because sometimes you want to hear his voice more and like some of the instruments could drown it out a bit. Whereas this, it was like very simple, moody vibe, like moody blues. And his voice was really different on this because he was obviously more high pitched, more of a falsetto. And I really liked his vocals as well. Like the chorus was really catchy. I've got it sort of repeated in my head now. Yeah, it was short and good. Does the job.
Yeah.
It's just a really good song.
See, I was not a fan of it. It wasn't bad, but after Iron Sky, I couldn't get over it. For me, it should have been like the order should have been Iron Sky, then Better Man, and then Diana. Kind of just to slowly bring you down.
Maybe,
you know,
yeah.
because it went from like this big fucking amazing, song to him just kind of there on a little.
Or maybe
track,
just,
it's not bad.
Maybe just finish with Iron Sky. I
mean, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
it feels like a closer. I'll sort of get onto that after.
Oh God, yeah.
It's hard to follow
but
that
yeah,
up.
this
Like, how do you follow that song
exactly. For me, the song Diana, it's kind of in my memory. It's just like, oh, it's just not as good as the song before.
Yeah,
it's a good song. It's fine, but I didn't have much to say on it. It's just not. There's nothing much there for me. I didn't. I like the big band. I like the big vocals, the big songs.
Got you. So our next track, Fashion.
Yeah.
For me, this is probably. I mean, I don't dislike the song, but for me, it's probably the worst one on the album.
It's not probably.
Yeah.
It's definitely the worst on the album.
You didn't like the rap feature. You're not feeling that.
Oh, bro, no.
Right, we'll get to that. We'll get.
You finish, Brad. I've got some things to say.
It just had a slight bop feel to it, but I mean, it's a little bit disjointed. And the one thing I did also say about this was it felt like Beck had already done this.
Bruv, what is going on? I said the exact same thing. I said this sounds like a bad Beck song.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Don't know what that is.
All right, don't worry, Dylan. At least I know it's not matching now.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, this is by far the worst song on the album. This is genuinely really bad. Like, this is the only song I would
really
say.
Bad.
No, this is the only song I'd say on the album that is genuinely bad. I feel like I immediately dislike the riff. Like, even the guitaring I didn't really like. There's some weird washboard sounds. I mean, I said this with like Paramore before. I was like, why the fuck is there washboard in this song? To me, it sounded like it was trying to be like country, jazz, rap, R&B, rock all at the same time. The feature,
there's a lot going on.
Feature was jarring and terrible. Didn't like the chorus, and it sounds like a bad Beck song. That just about sums it up. It's just not good at all.
The only nice thing I had to say about it is that fat vibraty bass was cool.
Right.
It didn't need to be there, but it was cool.
Yeah.
His voice was fine in this, I guess, but it just wasn't as like inspired as the other songs.
It shouldn't have been on this album, in my opinion. It was so jarring.
Janelle Monáe, on this. What? Like the vibes were not there.
Nah, it was so
It's just
weird.
completely the wrong. Like he needed someone with a bit of a name. Did she have a name back then?
Yeah, sort of.
I don't know. Couldn't
No,
tell you.
I don't know.
Janelle
But yeah,
Monáe is not a rapper though. That's the thing. She's an
Yeah.
R&B singer. That's why it's so weird.
yeah. I
Like
mean,
if she would have sang on it and they would have gone back and forth similar to like the earlier
yeah,
song, it would have been
Might have
good.
been a
But
bit more
instead they were
interesting.
like, "Oh, spit some bars for
I
me."
just
mean,
spitting
I do feel like
bars,
this song
flames.
actually just lacks from like its lack of actual cohesion though.
Yeah, it was just shit.
Yeah,
Because it does feel a little bit sloppy in places.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the
yeah,
instrumentation
yeah.
doesn't really fit in my opinion. So
Yeah. I did like the West Side Gun feature though. That was good.
shut up.
Yeah.
Boop, boop, boop. That's another thing we've
Oh.
previously spoke about that's entered into this chat.
Mate, just keep
So
it going.
so our next track, Looking for Something. For me, this
Yeah.
is like the perfect laid back chill song. Like you're lying on the beach,
Amen.
you've had like a long day, you're just chilling back. You wanted to put some little soft vocal thing on. You're like, hey, do you know what? Let's throw this tune on.
Mm,
That's where I'm at with this song, and that's just like the perfect sort
mm.
of scenario for it. Where you boys
Yeah.
at?
Yeah, I said this song is so much better.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like the sultry kind of like jazz and the violins in the back, and it's just fucking. Again, I've said it, but before, but fucking, it's just sexy.
Mm.
You know, you put that on, you're sitting there with a red wine, and you're
I really
chilling.
thought you was gonna say something else.
No.
You're sitting there with an erection and you just chilling.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Um,
but with red wine as well.
yeah.
No, it's not. It's a very good song. It's just like it just encapsulates like the vibes of this entire album
Bro,
in this
you're
song for
fucking
me.
pissing me off right now.
Oh,
I
stop!
literally said this feels like his definitive sound. So this is like
Oh, for fuck's
if
sake!
you wanted to show someone what Paolo Nutini sounds like, you'd
This
show
is
them
the
this song.
song.
Yeah. And
Bro,
I really like the I really like the violin and the strings. I did in with it.
bro.
Basically, I said exactly the same as what you two said. Like this song's really good.
Okay.
Moving on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a fucking
uh,
great song. Yeah.
our track next, Cherry Blossom.
Mm.
This song has more of like a power
Oh
rock
yeah.
feel to it. It's more of a psychedelic rock
Uh huh.
song. So it's a bit
Yeah.
more aggressive, especially in sort of the chorus setting where he really belts out the cherry blossom bit.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
again, it's just showing the different levels to his voice because we've just had a song where he was like very relaxed, very chilled. And then in
Mm.
this one, he builds and he's like getting really aggressive and has that grit to it. And it's more of a raw sound.
Mm.
But overall, it just had this really cool guitar line throughout. And like I say, just a nice psychedelic feel to it.
I agree, but kind of I wrote something different. So I said it's very like old school rock and roll vibes with like some synthy layers to it.
Mm.
And then like the chorus was very like 70s and 80s metal. I said
Metal.
like in terms of
No.
in terms of like not like heavy metal, like not like
I feel
metal
like you
these
slipped
days.
off a little bit there.
I don't think
But
so.
no, I'm talking like old metal. I'm talking like I'm trying to think of a band like kind of like
No.
not really Def Leppardy, but like in that kind of like synthy guitars and fucking heavy. You know, it was very
We'll
heavy.
roll with it. But yeah,
And I
carry
okay,
You do you.
I
You
really
do you. I'm
fair,
sure
fair.
you know what you're
I
talking
really
about.
enjoyed this song. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. It's in my head. I just can't get it out. No, I banged. This song fully banged. This is if he had more songs like this, he'd definitely be in my like favorite artists.
Hmm.
It's very not the same. Let me try that again. This song isn't very similar to any of the songs on the album, but it's very welcomed.
Hmm.
You know,
Right.
I enjoyed it.
At least our notes are different this time because I'll start by saying
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
didn't really like this song. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I knew you.
This is not your bag. I feel like though. This
Nah.
is not really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
One thing I did really like was the funky bass line. Again,
Yeah.
it was impossible not to tap along, even though I wasn't feeling a lot of the rest of the song because that bass was just
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
so good. I didn't need
Spicy.
the breakdown at the end, so I think there was like a minute and a half or like a 2 minute where it just sort of played out the instrumental, and by that point I was kind of done with the song. I was like, you can move on now, and I did feel like it went on a bit long. It was much more rocky and fast paced, but that's not really what I enjoyed on this album. I preferred the slowed down, more ballady
Mm.
songs. So it wasn't like the worst song on the album or anything, and it was like not a skip, but it didn't really stand out for me.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I just
Fair
feel
enough.
like personally, I feel like because it adds a different layer to the album. For me, it just adds to the
Yeah.
total picture of the album, which is what I quite enjoy
Yeah,
about it.
it shows a different part, like a different side to his
Mm.
voice and his music.
If you also look at like previous albums that he's done as well, he doesn't really venture into this sort of sound an awful lot because a
Yeah.
lot of his earlier stuff is very basic acoustic stuff. And what
Mm.
we've heard throughout this album so far, where it's had like its big band and jazz and bluesy influences, he's not used that throughout a lot of his career, but in this album, he uses it quite a lot. And it's such like it's a far more mature take, this album, than what he's previously done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we go to our final song, Someone Like You. This is basically just an acoustic lullaby. Well, it's not even acoustic, it's just got a bit of bass back there and it's just singing to it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like it's just like a nice little ending, really. I mean, it's like singing you out of the halls, really, to me. That's what this feels like.
Fair enough.
Would you be fair enough?
to me, it was more of an anticlimax. I feel
What?
like the album, you already reached that pinnacle where you've hit High and Sky midpoint of the album. And then even just looking at my scores, it sort of slowly peters out towards the end. And this song I didn't really like at all, to be honest.
Didn't even need to be on
It
it.
felt
This
a bit
is not a
Christian
song.
rocky for me. It felt a bit
Oh,
Christian
what is
vibes,
with you?
you know what I mean?
Just because you get like a
Right.
bluesy sort of album that ends with like a little lullaby
Bro,
thing doesn't
he
mean
was
it's a
singing over a
Christian rock
music
song.
box. He was singing
Right,
over a
so
music box and singing children's lullabies. I don't want to hear that shit. I want to hear Iron
Ah.
Sky. And the luddy duddy dars that put me off as well. I did like the very end. So there's like a 20-second bit at the end where it's like
Yeah.
a bit glitchy and a bit weird. But yeah,
Mm.
like I'm not gonna feel anything if someone's just like la di da di da slow bomb me knob. You know
That's not what he
I mean?
says. That's not what he says.
I'm pretty sure that's what he
Yeah,
says.
and it was a bit of a bit of a letdown for me.
But I mean, I agree with you, Adam. But what I wrote as well is that this is one of those like corny songs that like a guy would learn on guitar for his girlfriend if he wants to try and woo her. That's all I wrote
Yeah.
for this.
That's why Brad
That's
likes it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, this isn't a song you'd put in a playlist. It's just something you could end an album with. So
Yeah, I understand. I understand that.
Yeah, but then
It's just not
it's
for me.
unnecessary then, really.
it's
Don't
not,
need
'cause
it.
it's a very basic ending. I mean,
Yeah, but then imagine if it ended with one of the better songs like Diana or Iron Sky or something. That makes you want to go back to the album, whereas this made me not want to go back to the album. It just made me want to listen to Iron Sky.
I don't agree with that, but you could have your opinion.
Fair enough.
So that is the full album.
Yeah.
Where do we stand with it? Who wants to finish off? Dylan, do you want to go with?
I'll go first. So before I even put this on, I was like, I'm not even gonna fucking like a single one of these songs. I thought you were just kind of trolling us, if I'm being honest, when you picked this. I didn't know who the fuck he was, but I didn't think I'd like a single song, let alone the entire album. But I really, really enjoyed this album. I listened to it like twice. I listened to it, I was like, damn, let's go again. And it was fucking good. I don't really have much more to say. I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay, fair enough.
Good album, very good album. Let down by a couple of songs though, for me.
Yeah, for me, I kind of agree with Dylan, but I do think musically the album is very, very good. Like his vocals are genuinely very impressive. Most of the instrumentation I don't really have a problem with. It's just a lot of it comes down to personal preference. And
Yeah.
I do prefer the album when it's more slowed down, more somber, a bit more moody. So I feel like I'd enjoy the album more if it followed that consistent style. But I did enjoy the album overall. And also the album did get better for me on a second listen. So first listen, I listened to it and I didn't write any notes. And I was like, right, I'll give it another listen. And then when I listened to it a second time, that was good because some of the songs I didn't really feel first listen, I liked a lot more on second listen. So I feel like this is a bit of a grower. I will
Yeah.
listen to it again and I feel like it could grow on me. And there are some really, really good tracks that stand out. Iron Sky, that's just a straight up banger. You can't deny that, you know. And there's some other good ones on there. I think I agree with Dylan. I think I'll give it a 7 out of 10. But like placeholder, it could go up in future.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, for me, this is like such a big album that something I enjoy this because this is quite within my sort of range of what I really like out of an album, because I span through a lot of genres, but I do have particular areas which I do prefer. And him vocally, it's one of the things that I just really enjoy in music.
This is a bit of you, definitely.
This is a bit of me because it's that singer-songwriter vibe.
Yeah.
So with that into account, and also just the level I hold some of these songs as well. Like say, I mean, I know we've literally like sucked the dick off of Iron Sky, but I mean, it's that song alone puts the album at like a fucking 8 for me. So
that's fair.
So I'm gonna sit myself into an 8.5 for a rating.
Okay.
Damn.
The
solid.
There was only one track I didn't really enjoy. So for me, it couldn't be like a 10.
Yeah,
9 would have been maybe a bit high, because again, it's not. There are tracks on here. If you used to give every track a rating, I wouldn't give every track. I wouldn't give every track a 9.
No.
But a lot of the tracks would be 7s and 8s. So I feel like 8.5 is like the perfect sort of rating for me.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm gonna
smashed it.
That's where I'm gonna sit with that.
Cool.
Definitely a solid pick though. It's a good album. Yeah.
Good episode, eh?
Yeah. Right. So Dylan, you got a question for us? You actually thought of something? You've had time. So.
Okay, so I thought of something because I had a question, but I'm fucking hungry.
Right.
So my question is, what would be your perfect burger, right? So build your perfect burger. So I'm going to start, okay? So I'll go for a brioche bun, of course. Got to be brioche.
Yeah.
Got to be.
Sesame.
It's got to be barbecue sauce, lettuce and gherkins, of course. Caramelized onion. It's got to be. Fresh onion,
You're just describing a Krabby Patty right now.
Oh, shit. Can you see my... Okay. Then it's got to be like a dirty beef burger, like a juicy as fuck beef burger.
Right.
Caramelized bacon, so like the American style, like crispy bacon. And then the bottom bun.
Right.
That's me. No cheese. Cheese ruins burgers.
Right.
I said it.
Here's
there.
mine, yeah. Sesame seed
Right.
bun. Right. Lightly toasted.
Ooh.
Okay. You gotta have some lettuce in there. Gherkins,
Yeah.
You gotta have like the McDonald's sliced gherkins though, because for some reason they're really good.
Yeah.
Nope.
They're top tier.
You'd have a bit of spicy sauce in there, so a bit of spicy mayo, a bit of Cajun mayo, you know.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
You gotta have your cheese in there, maybe like what's the American cheese? Not like the one that's like in a packet. You know the one, like American burger cheese. Bit of that on there.
Oh, the one that melts really, the white one.
Yeah, the white one, and then peanut butter.
Shut up!
No.
I'll punch you in the mouth.
I was just waiting to see Dylan's reaction. No, and then
I was about to punch you.
Then you'd have like a juicy burger, maybe a bit minty, you know, a bit of mint burger in there.
Minty.
Lamb mint,
oh.
You know? And then
fair.
No tomato. Get that shit out of there.
No tomato. No tomato.
Tomato
is a sin.
Burger. Let's be honest.
It's a sin. It's sloppy and it makes everything wet.
Exactly.
And then and then I want normal bacon. I don't want like American crispy bacon. I want like just normal bacon.
Boo.
And just chuck some other shit in there. Fucking chuck a sausage in there. Put an egg in there. Why not? Just go crazy, you know.
A sausage and a burger. That's wild, but I'll allow it.
Grilled pineapple.
Get the fuck out of here.
Adam, if you're not joking, I'm with you.
I'm actually not joking.
A grilled pineapple slice.
Yeah, like on the top, like when you have the stick.
Yeah.
Give a bit of sweetness to it. Oof. Very nice.
Yeah.
And also, I like red onion, but not like overly cooked caramelized ones. Like they're still a bit raw.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Right?
Fair.
Right. So when you say burger, does it have to be strictly a beef burger?
Nah,
No.
No. Okay, cool.
be
So,
anything, mate.
so for me,
Adam, by the way, you were thinking of provolone.
Ah, that's the one. That's the one.
so
Yeah.
right, brioche bun, lightly toasted.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
On the bottom bun, you want a bit of mayo and you want some barbecue sauce. You want both on there, right?
Okay.
Okay. And
So like a dirty burger
then
sauce. Got it.
straight up, you're gonna put the chicken on there. So we're talking a butterfly chicken, right?
Butterfly
Ooh.
chicken. I
Butterfly
can accept
chicken,
that.
nicely grilled.
How's it
well
marinated, though?
seasoned. How's it, and bruv? I don't need mad marination. I just need like that salt and pepper flavor. You know, that's all I need. That's all I need.
Oh.
I'm the whitest man you've seen, bruv. What are you looking at? You're not looking
Oh,
at.
we're
You're not looking at
cancelled.
culture right here. You're
Man's
looking at
eating
salt and
boiled
pepper.
chicken in
right?
a bun.
So boil the
It has
chicken,
to
put
be-
it in
It has to
water.
be grilled. It has to be charcoal
Right.
grilled.
Okay,
Yeah,
right?
okay,
that's
yeah,
fair.
yeah.
Okay.
So charcoal grilled, right?
Yeah.
Salt and pepper.
At least
Yeah,
put a bit of
yeah, yeah,
paprika on there. Come on, man, just a little bit.
I'm not big on paprika though.
Alright.
So I mean,
Yeah,
maybe a bit of
yeah.
Cajun spice.
This is your
Aye,
burger.
yeah, yeah.
This
Like,
is your burger,
maybe.
bro.
So
Yeah.
obviously bacon on top, smoked bacon. This is
Yeah.
Smoked. Yep,
smoked
gotta be
bacon.
smoked. Yep.
A light layer of cheese, preferably cheddar.
Mm-hmm.
Cheddar. Okay, yeah.
And then some lettuce to top it off with the bun then placed nicely on top.
Okay, simple.
Yeah.
Simple.
Simple, mate. Nothing too
Okay,
extraordinary.
that's fair.
I
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
change my answer
Cool.
because I want a chicken burger as well. I forgot about the chicken. Get rid of the lamb burger and you want like a southern fried chicken,
What?
breadcrumb.
Like buttermilk.
Yeah, like
Buttermilk chicken.
buttermilky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
fair
hungry
enough.
now.
Crispy.
Right, let's end
Crispy.
this. So next week our film choice is going to be Brad's.
Yeah,
So
boy.
Yep.
what would you like us to watch next time?
All right,
Brad?
so
I'm excited.
our next film choice is going to be Beasts of No Nation.
Oh,
I've never heard of that.
It's on
big boy
Netflix.
choice. Big boy choice. All right, Dylan, don't learn anything about it. Just go in dark.
I'm gonna go in
Yeah.
raw.
Alright,
Yeah.
Go in raw. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah.
And Dylan's album next week is going to be.
Okay. So I was gonna pick. I'm gonna tell you now. I was gonna pick. So Adam, you'll know. You know, People Just Do Nothing.
Yes.
What?
They have an
He's going
album.
to pick
Yeah.
the Corrupt
Okay.
FM album.
Corrupt FM have an album.
It slaps.
I was
Right.
I was gonna pick that
Mm.
because it fucking bangs.
Yeah.
It is full of bangers.
There's
But
a dead MC on the floor. Who was it?
Oh,
MC
Grinder.
Mate, that's a bang.
But instead, I kind of went with almost similar vibes. I've gone for Settle by Disclosure.
Okay. All right.
Settle by Disclosure.
Okay.
Because we haven't really listened to anything like that yet. We've listened to
I mean, we
bands
listened to
and
Prodigy, but yeah.
Not quite the same
Oh,
vibes.
yeah.
No, it's not the
Yeah,
same.
it's not the same.
Electronic.
yeah. For me, like my favorite song of all time is on this album. So we
Right.
move.
We move.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, join us for next episode where we'll be discussing Beasts of No Nation and Settle by Disclosure.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. That was
Sheesh.
a good little
Nice
conversation.
done,
Got a
nicely
bit
done.
emotional in places.
Yeah, I cried 3 times. It was great.
And, yeah, and I'll see you next time.
Bye bye.
Layers.
Bye.